This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Y'all,
This
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Everyone have a good Valentine's Day?
How are you asking that when Erica's dancing like this? You know, one person had a good Valentine's Day.
Well, it was also her birthday, too, so probably a good
Double
night.
whammy.
Probably
Yeah.
a good night.
Well, I had a great night, and it all culminated. And yes, folks, this is 42. I went to bed at 8:30.
Yes, there you go.
Not bad.
I got a good
well,
night's
that's why you're
sleep.
dancing.
Yes,
That's why you're dancing.
Great night's sleep. Thank you.
Stephanie Jones down there, how you feeling? How was your Valentine's?
It was fab. Yeah, no, I'm not like the biggest lover of being super lovey-dovey on Valentine's Day because I feel like you go into a restaurant and it feels really forced and strange.
Yeah.
But it was a really good time. Had a lovely time.
Oh.
Chilled at home. It was lovely.
Al, real quick.
Had a great Valentine's Day. It was fun.
Wow, sounds wonderful.
We're all like,
Sounds
so
very romantic.
positive.
Gentlemen, don't tell.
What about you, Jeff? What about you?
I cooked. I brought flowers. We had a lovely night. Watching
That's
a little
wonderful.
See,
TV.
everybody thinks you're anti-Valentine's Day, but you're secretly one of the best at it.
All right, well, we're going to leave it there. All right, so we all loved our loves yesterday. So love was in the air in Hollywood for Valentine's Day. Jen and Ben proclaimed their love by getting matching tattoos on Instagram. Jen revealed an infinity sign with arrows through it with their names in cursive on there. And Ben has his on his arm with crossed arrows with initials J and B on there. Interesting, one with the initials and one with the full name. Then Emily Ratajkowski and comedian Eric Andre, Al's buddy, went
homie.
Instagram official by posing nearly nude. You could see Emily's reflection in the mirror, but we had to cover most of her up.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that. Definitely going to circle back. Chris Evans also showed off his girlfriend on Instagram with a rapid-fire slideshow. And Cardi B and Offset enjoyed some fast food while promoting their McDonald's meal, which included a cheeseburger, fries, and an apple pie. All right, and Property Brothers' Jonathan Scott posted a video proclaiming the 10 things he loves about his girlfriend in this cringy video about Zooey Deschanel. Let's
Nice
watch.
talks.
I love that we talk things through, even when we don't see eye to eye. And I love it when you make me laugh, and it happens quite a lot. I love every second when you're around and the fact that I can't get enough. But mostly, I love the way I love you and the way you make me feel loved in return.
Doesn't he have a show called Property Brothers? Where's his brother saying bro?
Yeah. You need your
that.
friend to step in and be like, delete that immediately.
Is anyone enjoying this?
Are we hating? Are we doing a little V-Day hating right now?
No, a lot of it I love. Cardi B made me feel hungry. She is a snack, eating a snack,
Keeping it
loving
real.
Loving it, keeping it real, down for that. The whole 10 things speech was a bit much for me. I mean, why does he... that's a bit too far. If you read that to her at home and it's like, hey, you know what, I've made this is 10 things I love about you, I think that's different. But going full-on platform on that, with a full-on professional setup, is a little bit forced and staged.
What if
for
your
my
fiance
liking.
did that?
I wouldn't like that, no, it's a bit much.
That's my argument. I don't think anybody really likes that. If Anthony came home and was like, Erica, here are 3 things, and I used the DBL acronym. D, you don't ever let me down. B, but I love you. L, love is, you'd be like,
That was pretty good off the cuff.
That
I like
was
that
really
better.
good
I
off
like
the
that better
cuff.
than the 10 things.
Actually, I was kind of giving him a hard time too about this.
don't back
Property
that truck up.
Brother
Don't back
guy.
that I'm hearing some beeping.
Well, a little bit, because maybe she likes that. Because if Anthony really did that, it would be hilarious and we'd be cracking
It
up
kinda
all
would be.
night about it. But that's also our love language. Like, he does goofy things, I do goofy things, and then we laugh like the whole night. But yeah, so maybe it's what she likes. And I think at the end of the day, it's really about what your partner wants and likes, not about what everybody else thinks.
Well, they
although
put
we
on the
all think that it
platform for
kind of
everybody.
We'll let him off the
know each other
hook.
well enough to know what the other one will and won't like take and be okay with, for sure.
Yeah, we'll let him off the hook. We got to circle back to Eric Andre with Emily Ratajkowski.
I knew Eric when I remember when he asked me if he could do a guest spot at the West Palm Beach Improv, and I asked the manager Renee, and she said yes, and here we are, 18 years later. And I'm with you, lovely people, and Eric's with Emily Ratajkowski. So
Emily
I feel like it's a win for
Ratajkowski.
everybody. It really is. I wouldn't trade this for that. I mean, shout out to Eric, but I love you guys. But I just look at my friend, and I'm like the end of Top Gun. I should be on a battleship saluting you, like, well done, bro. I don't know how you did that. Long way
He
from
hit
Boca
that home run.
Yeah.
He hit the home run.
Well, give him our best. He doesn't need it, but give him our best.
Yeah, it's fine.
The Oscars are less than a month away, and in the new promo, host Jimmy Kimmel gets grilled by Jon Hamm in a Top Gun Maverick spoof, joined by 9-time Oscar host Billy Crystal. Let's watch.
Double Admiral Crystal. Is there any way you could host?
No, I have a dentist appointment Sunday night.
Sunday?
Listen, I've hosted this thing 9 times, and I say give the kid a shot.
Oh, wait, you know, I've hosted twice before.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
All right, Billy Crystal still looking good. Speaking of Top Gun, Steven Spielberg met up with Tom Cruise, at the Oscar luncheon on Sunday and told him that Tom and his movie basically saved Hollywood's butt. It did make more than $1.4 billion at the box office globally.
Is that good?
$1.4 billion.
I don't know movies.
Are you actually joking?
I'm being very sarcastic.
I was like, what,
Shout
Al?
out.
I know you're not bothered about going to the cinema, but
I'll tell you this, Steph. Shout out to Tom Cruise. I remember doing the story when he was still, when they were shooting Mission Impossible, and we were still smack dab in the middle of COVID, and that audio release of him screaming at the staff because I think somebody hadn't been right with their PPE. And here we are with Top Gun. He is a person that is maniacal about his work and how he goes about it, to the point where it's obsessive. I've said it before, the highest compliment I can get anybody, he is Kobe adjacent to movies, what Kobe was to basketball, focused completely on one thing, and I don't think that's hyperbole. I do think he saved movies because that's the kind of movie that gets people like Jeff and myself and Erica to leave our houses.
And
any other movie,
1.4 billion other
yes,
people.
Well done.
Yeah, I was upset when he didn't get an Oscar nod, and I spoke about it in the show because he did bring movies back, and that should give him an Oscar nod. He has never won an Oscar.
What about a Lifetime Achievement or something?
Yeah.
I mean, they gave him. He's a director on the film, so he got a direct. He's going to be there. But I mean, I don't know. I would have gave him a nod.
Well, we don't know what the special awards are yet, do we? Do we know, like, who's being honored at the Oscars for any special?
Not yet.
So there's a possibility that that happens.
Yeah, well, they should make up something because he deserves something.
And also, Top Gun, was he considered the leading man in that?
Yeah.
He was? Okay, because I didn't know how much. Is it based on screen time?
It seems like that movie got you right back into the theater.
It did, yeah. But like sometimes the name that gets you in, they're not getting all the scenes because they were trying to promote the young flight guy. What's his name?
Penn Teller?
Yes.
Miles Teller.
Did you call him Penn Teller?
Miles.
That would have been a much better Top
So
Gun.
the 1.4 didn't include anyone from this panel, obviously.
I did see Top Gun. I did. I
know.
swear I did.
Penn and Teller made that whole
out.
plane disappear. It was great. It was wonderful. Yeah. Speaking of Steven Spielberg, Oscar nominee Kiwi Kwan credited Steven for giving him his big break, but it also might have been a curse. So Steven cast him as Short Round, if you remember, in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And he also appeared in Goonies, which was based on a story that was written by Steven Spielberg, but then he took a 20-year break from acting until recently. Let's watch.
I couldn't get a job. That's why I stepped away.
After Indiana Jones, after the Goonies.
Well, when you work with Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford and George Lucas, you can't go anywhere but downhill from there. And that's exactly what happened.
He still got that same inflection, right? It like takes me back, right, to Indiana Jones.
I love this, though, because people feel like if things aren't working for them, like right in the moment, or you're not having a hit back to back, then everything's over. And I know you can, I'm sure, speak to this, Jeff. I can speak to it. I started my career at the #1 station, like one of the top stations in the country. And after that, I could not get anything that made sense in that same way. And I was pretty much on a 20-year hiatus until, like, now things are starting to pop. So I'm planning on really peaking at 75 and then just coasting for the rest of it.
There we go.
How much is left?
Well, my family about 20 more years.
Damn, good for you. Good for you. I had too much fun in my 20s.
Yeah.
75 is my peak.
There, I like
Are you,
But are you going to peak it at 75?
No, I'm going to die probably.
Oh, don't no. Oh my God.
Steph, do you
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
think
just
you
kidding.
can peak too soon?
I definitely hear a lot of stories from, like, girlfriends, male friends from back at school that felt as though they were their prime years. And we don't have anything in England like prom king, prom queen, which is such a pinnacle. I feel like in America that's such a big deal.
Right.
Like it's such a huge thing, which we don't have in England. But I feel like a lot of my friends are like, oh, you know, I wish I'd have done this, or things aren't as good as they were then. And I think that's really sad, but it's real for a lot of people, you know. They can be, like, what's funny for me is like all the really popular kids, or like the more naughty, cool kids, that seem to be their really like hype time. And then all like the people that are a bit more quiet, like in the, like, you know, a bit in the background, they're like killing it and flying. So be good at school.
Yeah. Tamp down your cool.
There you go.
I like your 30s. I like that.
All right, coming up by DBL. Ginger Duggar Volo returns to DBL, but this time with her hubby, Jeremy. He's sharing what it's been like watching Ginger heal from her past. And what's going on with Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. Tori's breaking it down for us in her segment, Actually.
Our viewers are talking about DBL.
Yes!
I like that.
Leaves me speechless. I'm like blushing.
Thank you, thank you. That's emotional.
Do I want to sit there and watch them? Yes, I do.
Dan Morel.
Is B96 still around? Like if you go, is it really? Yeah. If you go to Chicago. So we're talking about where Erica used to work, which is by far the most popular radio station in Chicago. Yeah. B96.
And by the way, before you say anything, Erica, I was just going to say I'm disappointed in both of you two. It's Erica's birthday. We didn't hear the birthday song from Chicago.
What was the Chicago station that was popular?
B96.
B96, but that was from WGCI.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was WLS.
Oh, really?
WLS, well,
you
with
know.
WLS, the thing was you could get it in other states because at the time the frequency was
so
it was enough that it would go to
Yeah.
Chicago, Wisconsin, Indiana. Our signal was all of Chicago, Indiana, and I think a little bit of Wisconsin, like on the border, but it was more that we had a station that was a top 40 rhythmic that was for the whole country. So like when we would break records, they would break across the country. So it was just a really cool, cool situation. Yeah, but after that, it went downhill for a very long time.
But and I was asking her, is it still around? Right, I haven't been back for a while, but I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's still around. It's still around. And anytime I end up in a cab or an Uber, it's always on, and I'm like, what would my life be like if I actually? Yeah, because. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was just going to be at B96 for the rest of my life. And I'm like, what would my life be like if I would have been here for the rest of my life?
You'd be like Big Boy, like from LA, you know? Like just,
I did Big Boy's pilot. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Yeah, I know Big Boy.
Well, Big, if people don't know, he has a radio
morning
station
show?
out in Los Angeles that's been popular forever. He's been around
Forever. And Big Boy, but...
Welcome back. The twin flame has been blown out. And by that, I mean Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox have broken up. Maybe? Actually, what went down here? Let's look at the deets. So Megan and MGK have been dating for 2 years. They got engaged a year ago, which means it's been 2 years of seeing all of their extremely sexual red carpet moments together that I will not miss. But over the weekend, the couple got into a huge fight, and Megan deleted all pics of them on Instagram and unfollowed MGK. OMG! BTW. Remember, this is the same couple who once chained their nails together and talked about how they drank each other's blood. Ew. But get this, after she unfollowed him, she proceeded to only follow 3 very specific, seemingly single people on Instagram. You ready? Timothy Chalamet, Harry Styles, and Eminem, who MGK has beef with. Later, Megan deactivated her whole Instagram account, but right before she posted a pic of herself with the caption, quote, "You can taste the dishonesty, it's all over your breath." Now that's quoting lyrics from Beyonce's Lemonade album, and we all know that album is about cheating, am I right? Am I right? But actually, there are some rumors swirling that MGK cheated on Megan with his guitarist, Sophie Lloyd. One person even commented on her last post saying, quote, "If she got cheated on, the rest of us really have no hope. That is sad, but that is true." Sources say they haven't officially called off the engagement, but she took the ring off. The same ring that MGK designed with inner thorns in it, so it hurts to take off. But the couple was seen on Monday leaving a counseling appointment, so maybe the twin flame will reignite. Talk about thorny, this is a whole briar patch. Thorns. We'll be right back.
We know that paramedics are vital in providing life-saving treatment during an emergency. But do you know how the profession originated in the U.S.? One Twitter user claims the origins can be traced back to a group of Black pioneers from Pittsburgh. But is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are University of Pittsburgh, the City of Pittsburgh, Senator John Hines History Center, Kevin Hazard, a former paramedic and author of American Sirens, and the CDC. Paramedics first became a profession in the 1960s. Before then, police officers, firefighters, and even funeral directors responded to emergencies, but offered little more than basic first aid. In 1966, a National Academy of Sciences report documented the lack of proper emergency medical care. One area that exemplified that lack of care was the Hill District, the largest Black neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A former ambulance driver, Phil Hallen, teamed up with Dr. Peter Safar, an anesthesiologist known as the father of CPR, to create a private ambulance service to aid the residents in that neighborhood. 20 Black men were recruited from the Hill District to start the first paramedic team, which would come to be known as the Freedom House Ambulance Service. At a city council meeting, Safar presented data showing that of the over 4,000 patients Freedom House paramedics transported in their first year, less than 2% died before arriving at the hospital, a vast improvement over previous methods. Kevin Hazard, a former paramedic who also wrote a book about the ambulance service, told Verified that other medical programs took notice and replicated the service, creating the paramedic services that we see today. So we can verify, yes, the first paramedics in the U.S. were Black men. The CDC estimates there are now more than 200,000 professional emergency medical technicians and paramedics in the U.S. With your Verify, I'm Channing Curtis.
Welcome back. Last week, Ginger Duggar Volo told us about the effects of growing up under the religious teachings of the Institute in Basic Life Principles. Now, in her new book, she's opening up about stepping away from the cult-like teachings, and it wouldn't have been possible without her husband, Jeremy. Earlier, we spoke to the couple about their journey together, and our guest co-host, Carson Kressley, joined the conversation.
We got Ginger and Jeremy joining us live. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we're glad to be here.
Welcome back, Ginger.
Just to loop our audience in, after seeing Ginger's interview with us, you wanted to do an interview together. Why did you want to come on our show today?
Well, I'm so grateful for you guys and how you interviewed my wife and were so sensitive. And I felt like you guys really understood her story and where she was coming from. And so, yeah, just really grateful for that opportunity to share this journey.
Well, Jeremy, let's ask you, because you were not a follower of Bill Gothard's principle, but you met Ginger in 2015 at an IBLP conference. So why were you there, and what was your initial reaction to the conference and Bill Gothard?
Ginger's sister, Jessa, was married to Ben, and we just became buddies, and I went up there to hang out with him. I had no idea really what I was stepping into. It was kind of an interesting environment. And I just thought, oh, wow, this is pretty fascinating. You know, everybody dresses the same, talks the same, seems to live the same lifestyle at every point. And so I was kind of naive to the teachings that undergirded that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And Ginger, your parents were kind of hesitant to approve a relationship with Jeremy. Can you explain why?
Yeah, it was interesting, I think, because he had some differences. And so I just assumed I would marry someone inside that circle. And so they had him watch 60 plus hours of these teachings before we moved forward in our relationship. And it was actually helpful because that's what was the key that kind of like unlocked everything for me, was seeing how it wasn't based in the Bible, even though this guy promised it was.
Wow. Okay, so to that point, Jeremy, when did you feel like it was the right time to question Ginger and Gothard's teaching? What was that first conversation like with Ginger?
The first conversation I had with Ginger about it, I think she asked me what I thought of the teachings. And I basically said just that. I said, yeah, he's got some interesting kind of philosophical points about, the rise of humanism or whatever, but he doesn't really teach the Bible. And I remember her response to that sentence, because for her, it was like, he's the greatest Bible teacher ever. And I was listening, saying, whatever he's saying isn't from the Bible. So maybe he's got an interesting point here or there, but it's definitely not the Bible.
So Ginger, in your book, you talk about how Bill Gothard taught women to be agreeable wives. Now, how did this affect the first few years of your marriage?
Yeah, it was interesting. I just thought that in order to be a good wife, I just needed to agree to everything. So I wouldn't think too much for myself with critical thinking or even have opinions. But that was something that Jeremy was like, oh, I want you to have your own opinion. Think through it. Say if I've lost a game that we're playing, just say you did a terrible job. It's okay. Enjoy life and let's have fun together. But I was just so uptight, afraid to say anything because that was what I was taught.
Wow. Jeremy, I have the hard question. You're all going through a really tough time here. Not that the other questions weren't hard, but Josh's conviction on child pornography charges. You've posted a couple of statements about Josh on your Instagram. Why did you feel the need to do so?
Yeah, I think when you're in the public spotlight and you've chosen to be in the public spotlight because of your stance on truth, or you want to share the truth of Jesus with the world, that's wonderful. But you also need to speak and have a responsibility to speak when things don't go so well. So when those allegations came forth and then later proved true, Ginger and I both felt that we, as members of that family, have the first responsibility to stand up, speak, and give a perspective on how Christ feels from his word on those issues. Because we honestly don't have the option to remain silent when we want to be silent, when we've chosen to speak on so many other things.
I appreciate that answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Jeremy, what's been the best part in helping and watching Ginger on her journey?
I've just wanted to be by her side and strengthen her, support her, serve her however I can. And it's been incredible to see her growing into the woman that God has made her.
And Ginger, you have 2 daughters. Do you plan on telling them about your upbringing and your journey?
Yes, I definitely plan to talk with my girls about all of that. It's interesting. They're just 4 and 2 right now, so they're still very young, but I know in years to come we'll have a lot of good conversations about all of this.
I appreciate your transparency,
So
both of you.
refreshing.
It's so refreshing. Ginger and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. To our viewers, you can get Ginger's book, Becoming Free Indeed, My Story of Disentangling Faith from Fear, wherever books are sold. We appreciate you both, and we'll be right back. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Every time I visit my nieces and nephews, I come home with just a little scratch in my throat. I'm even more impressed when parents seem just not fazed by the colds or runny noses.
Do parents have a better immune system than people without kids? The short answer is no, but parenthood does have some health benefits. My sources today are UF Health Jacksonville's Director of Accreditation and Infection Prevention, Chad Nielsen, a Carnegie Mellon University study, and a study from the Babraham Institute.
The research indicates that parents of small kids, particularly under 6 years old, tend to be more sick than people who don't have kids.
Nielsen explains that kids are often sick with the common cold, rhinovirus or adenovirus, which you don't develop immunity to. It's all about good hygiene and safe practices to keep those germs from spreading.
Most kids under 6 have very weak immune systems because they're maturing and growing. They also don't necessarily have the best hand hygiene or respiratory cough etiquette, and so that inevitably passes on to the parents.
He says that cycle repeats every 2 to 3 months, whereas people who don't have kids usually aren't exposed to these viruses as often. One study done at Carnegie Mellon found that parents were 52% less likely to get a cold than non-parents, but they ended up attributing it to something more psychological. A 2016 Babraham Institute study found that being a parent seemed to rewire your immune system as much as the stomach flu does. But it did not find one immune system better than the other, just different.
Nielsen says for all the aunts and uncles and other visitors who get sick after being around the kiddos, step up your hygiene when you're around the little ones, and that will help protect you from the common colds they often have. With your Verify, I'm Leah Shields.
This February, love is in the air with a luxury included vacation to Sandals Dunn's River. Watch DBL every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2 to beautiful Jamaica. The winner will be announced on DBL March 1st. Stop dreaming and start entering for your chance to win the trip of a lifetime.
At the beginning of each year, Social Security recipients get a cost of living adjustment. But Verify viewer Doug and several others reached out to us at verifythis.com to ask about rumors that the government is going to give recipients an additional $200 a month. So let's verify. Our sources are the Social Security Expansion Act and the Congressional Record. Last June, members of the House and Senate introduced the Social Security Expansion Act. This included, among other things, a plan to give people who get retirement, disability, and survivor benefits an extra $200 a month. We checked the congressional record and found the bill was referred to various committees, but never went anywhere and officially died at the start of this year. So, no, Social Security recipients are not getting an extra $200 per month. Senator Bernie Sanders, who sponsored the bill, reintroduced it earlier this week. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Today's Sandals word of the day is sand. Watch DBL every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2 to beautiful Jamaica.
Welcome back. If you're looking to upgrade your bath without a massive remodel, we've got some ideas. We're talking about it in today's tips, sponsored by Jacuzzi. First, you can add texture to your space by making a shiplap wall. Next, bring nature indoors by putting greenery in your bathroom, and get a spa-like feel by adding a wooden tray over your bath and fill it with candles and other luxury accessories. Jacuzzi can also help you do it the right way with a spa-like experience. Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process. Visit jacuzzibathremodels.com or call 800-523-1523. Quickly before we go, a sign language interpreter went viral. You want to know for what? So do I. There we go. For a very energetic inspiration of Sir Mix-a-Lot's classic Baby Got Back.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. All right.
Who had to teach that in an ASL class?
Is that allowed, or is she going to get canceled?
No, that's the way the song
We need a new
goes.
word.
Shout out.
We need a new.
it.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.